Hey, my name's Joel Roadie, and you're watching my podcast called Party Like a Rock Star. I'm the author of a book called Memoir of a Roadie. It's about my experiences touring with Guns N' Roses and Stone Temple Pilots and some other bands. The book did really well. It was the #1 new release on Amazon in bios, and it's done 3 million copies on Kindle. If you want to check it out, I'm going to put the link in the description. Today's episode is about my buddy Brent Brito's stories about Blink-182. He started with them when they were a project band underneath a guy named Bill Silva. He calls himself their den dad, Brent. He drove the van. He was the tour manager, the production manager. He was everything. They were little kids. The drummer, Scott Rayner at the time, was so young he was still being homeschooled. And it was part of Brent's job to make sure that he did his homework to send in every Friday, because that was part of the deal of him being allowed to tour, that he had to be homeschooled. His parents made the rule. And then the parents of all the guys would call Brent to see how they were doing, because they would never call home to see what was going on. Brent's stories are great. I hope you enjoy the show.
So right before me, they were called Blink, and I think there was a band out of Ireland that was called Blink.
Yeah.
So they had to change their name. They added the 182, which for legal, you had to do that, So
were you with them when they put the 182 there? Because I guess they were lagging, and the label was bugging them, and they're like, "We're just going to do it for you if you don't come up with something."
Yeah. I was a part right as that happened.
So what did 182 mean?
Well, no one really knows. They at one point they were saying it's the average weight of the band. They're just making up things. But at that time, I believe there was a movie that was out that was called Turf 182, and I don't know if there's any tie-in there, but I never knew the real reason. But again, every interview we ever did, every phoner, everything we did, that question always popped up, and they always give a different answer every single time, just to amuse them. Most days were tricky at first. You're trying to, you have these kids that have their parents' money trying to buy Blink to play a show for them in their backyard, and then when it comes settlement time, there wouldn't be enough money. So I've dealt with so many kids, crying kids at settlement time, like, my grandmother's going to kill me because I borrowed all this money for this show and didn't make it back. I'm like, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. I'll pass it on to management, but we have to continue. I mean, if we can't get paid, we can't keep on continuing. So that's how this is going to go down,
So you're driving these kids around to like high school parties and stuff?
Oh, yes, sir. And we stay. Sometimes we need a place to stay, and they meet friends at these shows, and we be. Next, we're sleeping on a couch at a parents' vacation home somewhere because their parents are out of town. These kids would invite us over, and next, our show turned into a huge party all of a sudden. Like, I didn't, things you just don't expect. Yeah, the early days. I'd have maybe a couple of beers in the dressing room just to see, because I knew the guys weren't drinkers at all. But I just wanted to get that they were of age now, so it was okay. So except for my drummer, who was not of age, and so we ran into a situation early where we couldn't figure out why the drummer was playing so sloppy every day. So as the story goes, the beer, the miner was consuming the beer before the shows, and it was making it a really rough show for everybody, me included. So I decided, obviously with conversations with the other members of the band, to go ahead and with my next advancement of shows, go ahead and remove that from the rider to try to keep the shows clean, And with that being said, probably 4 or 5 shows later, the then drummer, Scott Rayner, he just didn't get along with me all of a sudden for some reason. I could not figure out why. And so one time we were in Portland somewhere in the van, mind you still, pulling the trailer, getting gas, and he loses his mind. Scott says, "Pickles," he probably cussed at me a few times and said, "You're not doing your effing job. You do what we tell you to do and nothing else." And here I am, knowing I've just toured the world with Paul McCartney, these huge bands. I'm like, now I've got a whole different situation to deal with now. Now I've got these kids that are up and coming, and I can't really react because I realized, they were a band together well before I knew them.
Did you send him to his room?
No, we were in the van. We were in the van, getting gas. So basically what I did was I pulled the van aside to get gas. I told all the band members, "Listen, you guys are a family. I'm just here to help, get you guys going. So this is an internal conversation you all need to have." So I let them know, this, y'all last well longer than I will last. So y'all have this conversation. Well, I guess they did have the conversation. I get back on the bus. He apologized, and we continued on our way. He was still somehow managing to figure out how to drink. It was a mess. And so the band had made a decision at that point to replace him.
What did you think when you saw the video of them running through the streets naked later?
Well, yeah. That's post me. I knew, of course, that's typical of them. That they're gonna. We've seen lots of antics like that on the road. Like, for instance, one of their albums after I left was called Enima of the State. Well, how that went down was, how the whole Enima thing went down was, when I was out with the kids, we were somewhere and Tom wasn't feeling well, just because the road food sometimes isn't the most healthiest food, So then Tom pulls me aside, basically, because I'm den dad, and says, "Hey, so I'm just not feeling very well. I can't go to the bathroom. I need help." And I said, "Well, let's go to the pharmacy and talk to them and see what they can give you." Because I never had kids. I had no idea how to deal with this. So as the story goes, Tom got enemas, that he got, to try to clean himself up. And so, of course, as we're talking to the pharmacist and he's guiding us through this process, Tom had flipped the story on me and says, "Okay, so it's actually Pickle's actually the one that's having the issues, jokes on me." They made it seem like it was me having the issue. It was this whole joke the whole way. Like, it wasn't me at all. And so then we go to the hotel bathroom, and he's asking me to help him. And I was like, there is no way. So pretty much Tom destroyed the bathroom, and we had to change rooms at that point. It was a complete mess. And that's where all this whole Enima thing came from, to be real honest with you.
And why was he sick? He just had food poisoning or something?
No, it was just just truck stop food. He was just backed up, typical, just not eating, not healthy. Yeah, this is all truth, guys.
Do you know how they've sold 50 million records now?
Yes,
did you ever see that coming?
I did foresee success, yes, but to that magnitude, absolutely not. I had no idea. I thought they would be short-lived.
These kids that you're driving around in a van have now sold 50 million records, 13 million in the U.S. alone.
Yeah, they had a niche, and also, they had formula. Once Travis joined the band, everything they did was just straight Blink formula. It was like they were just a hit factory, and I sensed that early. Whenever the band, when they signed Travis, I saw them just going for the hits. They weren't doing little silly songs that meant nothing. They're actually just going straight for success.
So Tom DeLong was expelled from high school?
Yeah, he was. He got kicked out because he went to Poway High there in California. Yeah, and they were friends. This happened right as they took off with me. He just wanted to make music, and his funny thing was he wasn't trained in guitar playing at all. He made it up the whole time. He was never taught or trained. He's a self-taught guitar player, and all he knew was his licks that he always did. He never knew anything other than that. And so, quick story. We played. I just remember we used to play some obscure places in like far East Canada. It's like Three Rivers. It's called. I can't remember exactly. Like I couldn't do the French. Anyways, they wanted to learn French Canadian. So the two, Mark and Tom, wanted to have their teeth, whatever saying, for whatever reason. So Mark wanted to know French Canadian how to say your teeth look terrific, which is, I think it's something like La dent et très belle or something like that. And Tom wanted to know, I want to take my gay chicken to the beach. So that's something like poulet fif à la plage. I don't know. They never ever used it, but that's what they want. For some reason, these people are like, why do they want to know it? Who knows? And that's what I can remember. That's all they wanted to know was French Canadian. And for one sentence that didn't make any sense at all.
I hope you guys got to enjoy these stories as much as I did. Blink announced today they are going on tour and coming out with a new album. I urge you to go see them and check out the new album, see if you like it as much as you like the last ones. If you got any great Blink-182 stories, don't be shy. Put them in the comments. We'd love to hear them. If you're just a fan and you want to say something, go for it. Thanks for your time. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe by clicking the round button on the bottom right. To learn more about me or the guests on the show, go to joelroadie.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. The handle's Joel Roadie.